Tell me you want me. 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 Tell me you want me.
There we go. Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning. Very exciting today. Ithaca has gone ahead and upgraded. Tezos has upgraded to Ithaca, is what I'm trying to say. It is the morning for me over here in Tokyo, so I won't be drinking any champagne. However, we have a nice little glass of tea here. So, cheers. We are here with Ithaca. And it looks like it was a very, very successful upgrade. The blocks are coming in on time, every 30 seconds, so it's very exciting. Um, I believe now we have a few things to go over to go ahead and explain exactly what Ithaca brings to the table and kind of talk about what's going to be coming in the next couple upgrades. Let's go ahead and head over to the desktop now, and we'll check out the Nomadics Labs sort of documentation on Ithaca and talk about what's going on. I'll go ahead and talk to you guys a bit about what else is going on behind the scenes. There are a few things that they didn't put here that are also going to change in the near future that I think kind of affect the governance a little bit of the blockchain itself. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in here. Basically, Ithaca, what it does is the very basic gist of it is now we can go ahead and send to exchanges and our transactions get verified pretty much immediately. So you can deposit to Binance. It takes about 1 minute. Once everything, if they have their infrastructure set up correctly, you can actually send it to Binance and you can sell Tez really quickly, or you can go ahead and yeah, that's pretty much what Ithaca does for us. However, what it sets the sort of table for, gets the table ready for, is lower sort of what do you call it, a higher transaction speed, meaning for the average user, they can drop the time down to 15 seconds, and hopefully that will come in the next upgrade. We're all crossing our fingers for this. That means we'll be, I think Cosmos is 6 seconds right now, so dropping us down to 15 seconds will make it much easier for us to do a high number of transactions as an average user. Okay. With this upgrade also comes a reduction in the minimal number of tokens required to be selected as a validator. So this is really cool as well. It's much easier to become a Tezos validator. And I think one of the really cool parts about Tezos that a lot of people don't realize is that most blockchains, they require you to have an infrastructure set up in a server or a data center, whereas Tezos doesn't necessarily require that. It values decentralization, so you're able to set up a node in like your house or with a reasonable, like a decent internet connection, and you can set it up on not a really high spec computer, and you can still get it running, which means it's very, very efficient running. So this means you only need 6,000 Tez to go ahead and do that, which lowers the US dollar threshold. So right now we're at $4, I believe. We just had a little pump. So we were at $4, so 4 times 6 is, what is that? $24,000, is that right? So yeah, we now have $24,000 minimum staking requirements for Tezos, which isn't that high comparatively. Other blockchains with even lower market cap than Tezos require $100,000 staking. So that's actually pretty low. You can team up with your friends and get that pretty easily, I think, if you really set out to become a baker. Another interesting part about this upgrade, which I think not a lot of people are super quite understand or have heard about, is that we won't have to wait for our baking rewards. So in fact, Kryptstar, our bakery, received 1,500 Tezos this morning, which is basically all the locked up Tez that we had for the previous cycles that we've already baked. So there's a lot less lockup period. There's a much less lockup period for, sorry, the lockup period is much shorter for Tezos now, which means we don't have to wait nearly as long. So we can start making payments. Currently we are talking to, or I looked at the sort of Slack channel with the Tezos developers who create the payment script, and they are going to go ahead and, looks like they're adjusting it to go ahead and make it so we can do our payments. I think it's possible to make the payments maybe right now, but we are waiting just to make sure everything goes smoothly. We don't want to accidentally do double payments, because if we do double payments, we can't. It's going to be really hard to get all that Tez back. We only have a certain amount of registered delegators, so we just want to make sure all the bugs are fixed and that they have like a foolproof way of going ahead and paying out delegators before we go ahead and make this payment. So we are waiting, I think, until probably Monday, maybe Tuesday time frame. I'm hoping. It looks like they have a few things on their checklist to do on Sunday. So gonna wait for that update from them before we make our payments. Okay, so the new security deposit mechanism is introduced. So we have to freeze at least a minimum 10% of our stake in advance in order to obtain the baking and endorsement rights. Okay, so that doesn't mean much to delegators. So yeah, you need at least basically 10% of the delegated Tezos stake to you in order to go ahead and get the rewards for it. So you have to, if you have $24,000 staked, you can only get up to about $240,000 delegated to you maximum. So you actually have to raise the amount of Tez that you put into the bond in order to get more delegations. So if you want to get $1 million worth of delegations, you have to have $100,000 worth of Tez locked up in your bakery if you are deciding to become a bakery with this lower minimum requirement. Okay, so a lot of people may have heard Baking Benjamins or Primate kind of going out on Twitter and talking about this 2/3 mechanism. This is 66.66, the devil's number, right? So, yep. It's basically, this means that we needed to have everyone updated to 12.0 or above. I don't like see if I can see the chat room here. So we have to have everyone updated to 12.0 above, at least 66.66% of the bakers doing that. Because Coinbase has a special signing mechanism, apparently they could only run the baker for Ithica or for what do you call it, Hangzhou at the same time. So that's why we ended up being a little bit late on the upgrade. So it wasn't the protocol itself, it was actually just the Coinbase that was holding us back. In the future, with Ithica, it looks like that may not be such an issue, because another big sort of, what do you call it, a big thing that isn't noted here in these notes from Nomadic Labs, or at least I don't notice it in a way that I understand, so I'm just going to put it in layman's terms for all you guys watching right now. It looks like if you lose your endorsement, or if you're not up, your baker isn't up and running, somebody else can actually snatch the baking rights or the endorsing rights right away. Whereas before it would stall the whole network. Now somebody else can just kind of snatch it up, and the network can keep going even if the baker is down. However, if we have more, I think, than 66.66 of the bakers down, that is when we lose our consensus mechanism, which is kind of bad. So basically, if the foundation does decide to turn off their bakers, this will probably be the main example, because they have the most baking stake in the Tezos network. If they decided to turn them off, they definitely have to turn off one at a time, because if two exchanges, just stating random numbers here, this is just for an example. So if they exchanges, one or two of the exchanges, bakers went down, and the foundation decided to turn off all the bakers at once, we would be under the 66.66% threshold, and the network would stop. So I think it's very important to go ahead and note that. However, it's very nice that the new bakers can go ahead and get the rewards if you are going ahead and making sure you're updated on time. So that's very good. It rewards bakers who are updated on time. Okay. And liquidity baking. Okay, so the liquidity baking is turned back on. Woohoo! Okay, so I guess that's interesting. A thing to note about this is they did lower the threshold from 50% to 33%. However, I believe they're going to they had a new Agora post where they're going to go ahead and refix this 50% or 33%. So that way, right now it's 33% of the whole network, which getting everyone to run this 33% would make it really difficult to go ahead and pass to turn off liquidity baking. So they're changing the mechanism for this, so it ends up being like a signaling mechanism. Every block you have to signal that you want to turn it off, and I think the threshold will be raised back to 50%, but it will require everyone to go ahead and vote. So exchanges may not like liquidity baking because it pulls liquidity off the exchanges, so they're probably going to run this escape hatch and turn it off, maybe. It probably depends on what the community says, and if there's a big uproar about the community telling Coinbase, hey, we don't want to do this, then, or the community can just take off the exchange and give it to bakers, which makes more sense because you can have your own custody. So this is actually this new mechanism, this new signaling mechanism, which isn't mentioned here. I think this is actually could quite possibly pull a lot of the Tezos off of the exchanges and make people learn how to go ahead and stake and delegate from their own wallets. From their own wallets, which is really exciting. And that was actually one of the I was reading through the documentation from Nomadic and the Agora post, and I remember I made a big deal about the escape hatch, but the way they did it with the new mechanism requiring everybody to go ahead and run it, I think that's actually a very good tactic to force people to go ahead and try and pull off exchanges, because exchanges are probably going to vote against liquidity baking. So liquidity baking could actually be the mechanism that sort of makes Tezos more decentralized in the future. So that could be a very, very great, mechanism that is implemented in hopefully the next couple of months. I don't know how long it's going to take them to develop that. Okay. The man, the myth, the legend. Thank you. Faster dump. Yes, yes, yes. So yes, now we can dump faster. Anyways, that's kind of funny. But let's go ahead and jump over to just our bakery. I'm going to show you guys how we're doing. We did have a signer issue. We run our signer with Icha Labs. They created a really cool signer for us. However, I'm believing we must have probably implemented it incorrectly. So that means we missed a few of these endorsements. However, looks like we did steal a few bakes and a few endorsements. So yeah, we're pretty much full blocks besides that, as much as we can get. So I believe we actually stole back most of what we lost because a lot of people aren't updated. So this is actually, we didn't lose that much here. This is a very small amount. And we didn't lose any bakes, which is the big money makers here. So we do have it updated. We are running right now in Tokyo, and we have a backup baker in London. So yep, we're all ready for this. Very exciting. You can see here we did get the payment for everything is unfrozen. So yeah, you can see that right here, kind of. So we'll be making that payment hopefully in the next week or so. Okay. So yeah, pretty much, I guess I was just going to touch on the next steps for Tezos, and one of them was the escape hatch mechanism. So the escape hatch mechanism is changing to go ahead and be, I think it's going to be end up being going back up to 50%, and then everyone has to run the escape hatch mechanism. I don't have the article up right now, so I'm not going to point it out, but you guys can Google it. It's on Tezos Agora. Maybe I can find it real quick. Let me see. But the next steps for Tezos are roll-ups. I did see Arthur posted a few things on Reddit about it, but he didn't really post about any. He said the dates were going to be, I think, 6 to 8 months, about 3 months ago. So hopefully we'll see roll-ups coming here soon, which is layer 2. I think the next biggest steps for Tezos will definitely be cross-chain bridges and interoperability. Right now, we had a big marketing campaign, of course, for Manchester United. I think that's great, but personally, I would like to see us reaching out to other chains and pulling liquidity from them, like Ethereum or from Binance Smart Chain. That seems to be the better tactic for our market cap rank is rank 50. So hopefully we will go ahead and pull liquidity from them and then start marketing outside of the crypto sphere. Because I think when people go ahead and hear about Tezos at these Manchester United games, they're gonna be like, what is Tezos? It's a cryptocurrency. But then they see the market cap, it's at 49, right? So they're gonna go ahead and look at the higher market caps, which is a much safer, token to go ahead and invest in. So I think we should try and pull liquidity from these other chains. And I heard that, Plenty and QuipaSwap are both working on, Force Bridge is one of them, and then Plenty is working on, I think, new Ply token, which will be like a new farming system from what I've heard. And then they're also going to go ahead and take over the Wrap Bridge, which should hopefully have AVAX as well. So if we go to AVAX, we all know AVAX, you can go from AVAX to Luna Terra, which also has IBC compatibility. And I think AVAX now has a layer 2 solution that also has a sort of IBC inter-blockchain capability. So you can go from Tezos to AVAX, rather cheap because both have rather cheap fees. And then from there, you can go to the Luna Terra ecosystem. And from there, it's easy to use a Force Bridge, or there's many bridges to go from Luna Terra to go ahead and go to Ethereum. And I think that'll be much faster than probably going through Wrap itself at the current Wrap pace. However, once Tezos, block time goes down to 15 seconds, that'll actually greatly increase the amount of time that the transactions can get verified for the bridge. So I think it'll make each block, it'll basically halve the time, for the blocks to go ahead and get confirmed for the transfers from cross-chain transfers. So that should be exciting. Very looking forward to that. Yeah, so hopefully the layer 2 solutions come out soon. We get some front ends. And also, I believe hopefully what do you call it? AirGap will also be able to get an update for ZK Snarks so that they can go ahead and implement ZK Snarks and ZK pools inside of their mobile wallet, so you can send to your friends on a private channel. It's very exciting. Hopefully that gets implemented soon. I heard that Nomadic Labs is fixing the issue that they had with that, so hopefully that comes out. Anyways, that is it for today's Ithica update. Again, cheers and welcome to Ithica. Have a good day, guys.